morning. Are you one of those people who suffers from CRS? You just can't remember stuff. Well, I'm one of those persons, and I call those moments senior moments. My wife calls them brain cramps. My Uncle Al, Alzheimer, says it's really not all bad having imperfect recall. After all, you get to meet a whole lot of new friends. You save money on magazine subscriptions, and you get to hide your own Easter eggs. But seriously, power memory is not about memory, it's about recall. You already have a perfect memory. What you probably lack simply is trained recall. And it's analogous, by the way, to my office, piles versus files. That is, if you were to walk into my office, you would see on every horizontal surface material stacked this deep. When I need to find it, well, it's in here somewhere. Had I the foresight, had I the experience or the knowledge to put together a filing system, then when a new piece of data comes in, you know exactly where to put it, but more to the point, you know exactly where to go to get it back. Now, it's going to be impossible for me to teach you everything you need to know about power memory this morning in the short time I have allotted, but what I will do is I will walk through you, teaching you how at least to remember a simple shopping list. Now, when you build that file cabinet, you need to build that file cabinet in your mind. Our file cabinets in our offices go by an alphabetic system, A, B, C. You are going to build with me today a small file cabinet in your mind that will allow you to place thoughts, items, lists, objects there, and then recall them later whenever you wish. And that system that you're going to use is not alphabetic, it's numeric. Here's one of the keys. All memory is associative. That is, you never totally grasp a new piece of information or understand it or memorize it until it is connected to something you already know. We're going to use the technique of association this morning. The other thing you need to know is that the brain, by the way, is about 70% visually oriented. That is, those portions of the brain which have been mapped, over 70% are dedicated to optical throughput or visual storage. We speak in terms of visualization from the word visual, or imagination from the word image. That's how strong sight is to us and our pictures are to us. So let's do some picture association. We need a way to convert a system into pictures so that we can relate to it in our mind. Every file drawer gets a different picture. Here are the pictures. We're using something you already know. You can count from 1 to 10. Therefore, the numbers 1 to 10. Notice we're using a rhyme. 1 is a gun, 2 is a shoe, 3 is a tree. I do that because you'll never ever forget that. Once you say this over in your mind, 4 is a door, 5 is a hive, 6 is a pick. The moment you think 6, you find the rhyme, pick, and that's the first thing you need. That's the image that everything else is tied to. Here we go. Let's imagine we're taking a shopping trip at an office supply store. First item, paper clips. So in your mind, do this for me right now. Picture, and by the way, the wilder, the zanier, the more scatological, the more vivid, the more vicious, the more vital the memory is. So make an interesting picture in your mind. The picture in my mind, for example, paper clips, gun. I need to tie those two together with a crazy picture in my mind. So I imagine a machine gun in the parking lot, rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat, firing those paper clips instead of bullets, and they're hitting the wall of the office supply store and knocking plaster everywhere and breaking windows. Can you see that in your mind? The wilder, the crazier it is, the better the association. So now when you think 1, you'll see that gun and you'll see those paper clips. Now the second item on the agenda, the second file cabinet, is shoe. Let's find something to go with shoe. Oh, yeah. Those of you who file your income taxes on a quarterly basis will find, don't get ahead of me, those mileage logs, spiral bound, where you keep it in your car and you record your odometer reading so you can claim your mileage. That's what that item was. So let's relate that mileage log to a shoe. I think of an exaggerated shoe, a great big shoe, the size of a canoe, this shoe. And it is overflowing around your ankle with these little mileage logs flowing out of it, just like odor from dirty socks. Well, I told you, the more senses you involve, Bandler and Grinder in their neurolinguistic approach say that we are either auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is touchy-feely. Auditory, of course, is sound, and visual is all the rest of us, or actually most of the rest of us. So we tie those together. We use every possible clue we can, every possible sensation. 3 is a tree. Let's see. Oh, here, toner cartridges. All right, imagine a tree, a giant tree, and instead of fruit, there's toner cartridges hanging on every limb. And by the way, this is autumn, so they're turning a lovely color of red and gold, and there are a few green ones left. Most of them are black. The 4th item is door. Legal size file folders. Imagine you go home, you open your front door, you grasp the knob, and you pull it open, but it's not a door anymore. Actually, it's a big file folder laying on its end as you open it. What an absolutely chintzy, cheesy little door. But picture that in your mind. The 5th item, coffee. Well, they sell cookies too. Okay, coffee. 5 is a hive. Imagine a beehive hanging in the tree, but it's not really a hive, it's a big coffee can, a 5-pound can of Folgers drip grind coffee, good to the very last drop. Picture that in your mind now. The bees swirling around, and there's the hive, but it's really a coffee can. Let's see, 25-foot telephone extension cord. Imagine that pick. That's number 6. Imagine that pick. It's a miner's pick. We used to call them an idiot stick years ago. And you've got this pick, and it's jammed into your desk, piercing the telephone. The only possible component left to use is the 25-foot extension cord. That's the only thing undamaged. The 7th item, a leather office chair. So imagine, if you will, let's associate heaven. I always think of an angel, halo, wings, dressed in white, reclining back in this office chair, floating as if it's in the clouds. Do you see that picture in your mind? You see how easy it is? Once you begin to relate visually, these things connect together so nicely. Let's buy a briefcase. And to associate that with a plate, okay, there's your place setting, forks, knives, dinner glasses, wine glass, and instead of your plate, there's this briefcase lying there. When it's time for the soup, the waiter comes by, opens the lid, dumps the soup inside. Can you see that crazy picture in your mind? That's all it takes. The 9th item, mailing labels. Okay, you're opening a bottle of wine, you pull the cork, and instead of wine decanting and flowing out, is a continuous stream of little paper mailing labels, one right after the other. You sniff the cork, it's got a stamp on it. That reminds you it's mailing labels, you see. And finally, for the 10th item, oh, they still make those? Rolodex? Okay. Imagine a pen, a great big huge Mont Blanc pen, one of those big monsters. Too big to fit in your pocket. Huge thing, size of a log. And you're working the lever, squirting ink all over that Rolodex. All right, time for the test. And I know you'll be able to do it because you've been going through these images with me. Let's see, all of you together, or as many of you that want to. What's item number 4? Rhyme it. A door. What is the door? File folder. You're good. What's number 7? Heaven. And it's a chair, an office chair with the angel sitting on it. Number 10 is a pen, and what's the pen doing? Squirting ink all over the Rolodex. As a matter of fact, let's go through them all together. Number 1 is a gun, and it's number 2 is a shoe, and it's mileage logs. 3 is a tree, and laser cartridges. Number 4 is a door. We covered that. Number 5 is a hive. What is it? Coffee. Cool. Number 6 is a pick. What are we doing? Phone cord. Number 7 is heaven. We did that. Number 8 is a plate. What's going on? Briefcase on the table. Number 9 is wine. What do we have? Mailing labels. That's right. And number 10 is a pen. It's a Rolodex. You guys are great. Give yourselves a hand. Now, what you've just received is your very first lesson in mnemonics. It's a Greek word. Don't worry about it. It simply means memory systems. It is very difficult to teach a subject like this in such a short time. And teaching is often thought of as simply dispensing information. That's not true. Teaching is not filling a bucket. Teaching is lighting a fire. I hope I've lit your fire today. My name is Lee Earle. Thank you very much.